What's up, everyone? It's Cannan back with another video, and today I'm talking about something that is a little late, but I've taken time to really think about what I wanted to talk about when it comes to this particular series. And it took me a little bit of time to get some stuff ready. But back during the Game Awards, we got some exciting news if you are a Tomb Raider fan. And yes, I am a Tomb Raider fan. I did not start out on the PlayStation 1 back in the day like so many others because, I was a kid, and I was like, ooh, girls, cooties, and stuff like that. And so I did not play Tomb Raider back in the day. Come on, my first PlayStation 1 game was a WWE or F at that time game. It wasn't until later games like Final Fantasy IX and Legend of Legaia and stuff like that that I really hit my stride as playing video games. Now, of course, going into the 2000s, I was still playing as male characters. First time I played all three Mass Effect games, I played as Bro Shep. But a time came where I was like, you know what? I've played this so many times as a guy. Let's try Fem Shep, and that's where it all began. That's where I started being like, okay, I actually prefer playing as female characters more than male characters. And so I eventually went back and played the Tomb Raider series because I had played Uncharted and stuff like that, and there was always that joke that Nathan Drake is just a male Lara Croft, even though both of them are pretty much based off Indiana Jones, which I loved as a kid. I loved Indiana Jones. But I really like those kind of action movies where the main character was not exactly OP and got like beat up a lot throughout the movie, like the original three Die Hard movies, Indiana Jones and stuff like that. And so I gravitated toward these games, not so much in the early series, but when the reboot series came out, the Survivor trilogy, I really gravitated to those three games because I loved that in those games, Laura is not perfect. She is learning who she'll eventually become. Now, after the Game Awards, with the announcement of Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, which is a remake of the first game, which is what I'm mostly going to be talking about here, and then also Tomb Raider Catalyst, finally a whole new game in the series that takes place after Underworld. But Crystal Dynamics has released some news since then that has had a lot of people talking in the Tomb Raider fandom. Now, of course, there's many camps. There's the classic camp, there's the Survivor trilogy camp, and then there's people like me who just love the series all in general. I don't care if it's classic Laura, I don't care if it's Survivor Laura, I'm happy. But Crystal Dynamics has found a way to get around that, and that's by unifying the entire timeline. So we have seen, since these two games have been announced, which I'm going to mostly be talking about Legacy of Atlantis since it's the game that comes out the first. It comes out this year at some point. And that is the fact that this Laura, this version of Lara Croft in her very first adventure, is the same Lara Croft from the Survivor trilogy. So the Survivor trilogy originally was meant to be a reboot in some way, but as time has went on, they have decided that it's not just a reboot trilogy, it is now Laura's definitive origin story. And many have already asked, well, how is that going to work when Laura originally had a whole different background? The fate of her parents was different in the original games, a good bit different from they were in the Survivor trilogy, and it makes me wonder what Crystal Dynamics is going to do eventually. Now, of course, I would love for them to do the Resident Evil route and just remake 1 through 3 and 4. Angel of Darkness, I'm kind of on the fence about because that game was rough in a lot of ways. Um, the two that I would like, besides 2 and 3, I would love to see Legend and Underworld get remade. And like, it's kind of set up that way, it seems like, because as of right now, on the PlayStation 5, you know, you have the remastered collections, which is 1 through 6. You have a emulated version of Legend on there. You also have Anniversary, but thanks to Legacy of Atlantis, I think Anniversary is going to become obsolete. With probably most of the other games. Like, if you still love the classic games, like the remasters are there, the original games are there, you can play them whenever you want if you enjoy them. I certainly will. But if they do something like this, it is going to kind of make the original games obsolete. But yes, a lot of people have been talking about plot holes and things like that, and really the simplest thing to do is either remake all the games or take certain games and combine them, like making Legend and Underworld one whole game. There could be that. But yes, I really hope they do something with Underworld before Catalyst comes out, because as of right now, Underworld is the only game that is not replayable in any way on the PS5. It is pretty much stuck on the PS3. I do believe there's a Steam version if you prefer PC gaming. But yes, on the PlayStation 5 right now, it is completely not available. It's either play it on the PS2 or the Wii, which, what are you doing to yourself if you play those versions, or the PlayStation 3 version. So, like, if they're announcing a unified timeline, I think Crystal Dynamics is definitely going to do something here, starting with Legacy of Atlantis. And yes, Catalyst may come out before that, but like after Legacy of Atlantis and Catalyst, I really do think we may see some remakes. Now, 2 and 3, I think I would like to see them as their own remakes. Maybe 4 and 5 could be combined into a game, because those two games kind of play, if I remember correctly, kind of the same. The one I'm not sure about is Angel of Darkness. Legend and Underworld, I think, could definitely either be completely remade separately or made into a full game. A full game where the events of both happen. But we will have to see, because it's kind of wild, because a lot of people thought when the remasters came out that was all Crystal Dynamics was going to do, but then they announced this. Something else about this remake that I like is the fact that we have a new voice actress for Lara Croft, and that is Alex Welton Reagan. And if you are like me and you are a BioWare fan, you love this because you know exactly who Alex is. She was Trainer in Mass Effect 3. She was one of the female voices for the female Inquisitor in Dragon Age Inquisition, and I believe she was also a character in Divinity Original Sin 2, which is made by Larian, who made Baldur's Gate 3. So she is an amazing voice actress. She is one of my all-time favorites, and I believe this new version of Laura for, Tomb Raider 1 is also, her face is also molded around Alex. Now, a lot of people have been talking about how the way Laura looks now, she actually looks like the perfect combination of classic Laura and Survivor Laura, which they are now both the same person, because she has the jade necklace that Survivor Laura has. So I've already seen people being like, the Survival trilogy doesn't matter anymore, blah blah. Yeah, it kind of does, because that's now Laura's origin story. So yeah, like, I'm interested to see what they're doing. Like, maybe it's too good to be true that them remake every game, but I would definitely love to, like, at least see a couple of games get remade, and then maybe a combination of some games. And there's some people who like certain games, and there's some people who do not like. I do agree Angel of Darkness could have been a lot better. They fixed a few things in the remaster, but it's still kind of a mess. There's also a very problematic scene in Angel of Darkness, which never really gets touched up upon ever again in the series. It does in the comics, but those comics have been called non-canon when it comes to the timeline of the games. And to me, that's really what matters, is the games. And I'm also wondering how they're going to go with this game, because like if you play original Tomb Raider, it's, you know, Laura's all by herself, and it was a PlayStation 1 game, so this was probably more of a limitation than a design at the time, but it's quiet, you know. Besides whenever you're fighting or, you know, something's after you, the game's pretty silent in a lot of parts, like when you're exploring tombs and all that. The Survivor trilogy is anything but quiet. It's very actiony. It's very loud. And like from the trailer that we've already seen, and the reason why I didn't do a reaction is because I had already seen the trailers, like, you know, ahead of time when the Game Awards was airing. I didn't get to watch the Game Awards, but I was at work and I got spoiled on it. But the parts with the dinosaurs, especially with the T-Rex, it looks very... It reminded me in some ways of the Survivor trilogy. So I think it's going to be the best of both worlds in a lot of ways. I don't know if any characters from the Survivor trilogy will show up, like Sam or Jonah or anything like that. I hope they're at least mentioned. That way Crystal Dynamics is like building that unified timeline to be like, yes, this is the events of Tomb Raider 1, but these characters still exist. But I can't wait to experience Alex's performance as Laura. I think it's going to be amazing. But Laura is back in her tank top, though it's not like it used to be. She's back in her shorts. She's got the dual pistols, which, you know, they never, like, besides Tomb Raider 2013, I don't think they really ever teased dual pistol Laura in the Survivor trilogy, which I always thought at the end of Shadow, like, it's been a while since I've played Shadow. I actually need to replay those games. I can't remember if there was or not. I know there was an original ending that got patched out that set up more of the events of Tomb Raider 1, but they patched it out. But, and not really much to say about Catalyst, since there's not a whole lot we know. From all we've heard so far is that it might be slightly open world. This is an older Lara Croft because, like we said, it's set after the events of Underworld, which for the longest time was the most recent game in the series, story-wise. You know, because in the reboot they went to Laura's origins. But yeah, it's kind of wild how things have worked out now. Because, like I said, the Survivor trilogy was originally meant to be just a reboot of the series, because it had actually been in trouble for a while. And apparently, according to some research I did, the Survivor trilogy was very, very successful for Square Enix. It actually, I think this might be all three games combined, but they sold so well that Tomb Raider actually outsold Dragon Quest, which has forever been Square's most profitable series, more than Final Fantasy or anything. Dragon Quest is insanely popular in Japan. Like, it is unbelievable how popular that series is. And at one point, these games were outselling that. So whatever happened between Crystal Dynamics and Square, like, maybe it was just for 3 games, we don't know. And that is also the reason why the voice actress from the Survivor trilogy is not returning as Laura, is because her contract was only for 3 games. But I think her and Alex sound kind of the same. Like, you could definitely see her being a young Laura with Alex being a more older and experienced Laura. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I can't wait until we get like at least another trailer. There's also rumors that Crystal Dynamics has a lot more surprises coming later in the year. There's rumors that they're going to announce at least remasters of the Legend trilogy, which would be Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld. Some believe they're going to announce the Survivor trilogy for the Switch, which, yeah, that's a big announcement, but for the big year that it is for Tomb Raider, I really hope it's something more than that. But before that's really all I gotta say. I just wanted to talk about this. I know the news was in December and it's now February, but I've had a lot going on. Jess has had a whole lot going on. And so I just never had time to really sit down and talk about it because other stuff was happening. Because remember, guys, when this news was coming out, WUWA 3.0 was about to come out, and that was my biggest focus at the moment. But yes, I am a major Tomb Raider fan, and that's why I'm going to end this video by showing you guys my gaming collection. Now, like I said, I did not start in the series, but I later went back and played these games. And I gotta say, I was worried how expensive these were going to be because you know how expensive old games are getting, but they weren't really all that expensive. So, start off, of course, the original. The green screen's messing with it a little bit, but the original Tomb Raider on PlayStation 1. Then, of course, you got Tomb Raider 2, Tomb Raider 3, Tomb Raider The Last Revelation, or Tomb Raider 4, and then Tomb Raider Chronicles, or Tomb Raider 5, which that would round out the PS1 era. And, you know, holding these, you know, it reminds me of how great of an era the PlayStation 1 was. Like, I really wish I could go back. I really, really do. Not only would I be younger, but it's back when gaming was way more simple. Then you have, what many consider the big black sheep of the series, Angel of Darkness on PlayStation 2. Notice it says movie ticket to Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life inside. And I think I saw somewhere, it could be fake, but I could have sworn I saw where people were like talking about how they kind of tried to make Lara look more like Angelina Jolie in Angel of Darkness, but I mean, she just looks like Lara to me. Now, even though Angel of Darkness was a very, like, disappointing start for Tomb Raider on the PlayStation 2, they made up for it with Tomb Raider Legend. A lot of people love this game. Lara's face is a little long for me, but I do like this design the most of her. And then, of course, you have Tomb Raider Anniversary. Green screen is really messing with this one. It does not like this cover, which really is just a remake of Tomb Raider 1. So, sad, like, if you've got this in your collection, that's great. You can always still play it. But, sadly, Legacy of Atlantis is going to kind of make this obsolete. And then, of course, we have Tomb Raider Underworld. I also like Lara's design in this game. It's been a while since I've played it because I don't have my PS3 setting out anymore. It's actually in storage. But we really need a re-release of this game, whether it just be a HD remaster or a remake. Now, being the completionist that I can be, I also have the Tomb Raider Trilogy Legend pack for PS3. It's all three games, you know, it's the PS3 versions of Legend and Anniversary, plus another copy of Underworld. I do not have the PS2 versions or Wii versions of Underworld, but I will be on the lookout for those. Then, of course, we have the original PS3 version of Tomb Raider 2013. And then, of course, I have the definitive edition of Tomb Raider on PS4, which this is the version that I prefer to play. I don't have the Game of the Year edition, so I need to find that. Then we have Rise of the Tomb Raider, which this is the book version. I thought about finding just the regular PS4 for copy that's in a regular case. But yeah, this is the one I've had since day one. Then we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which, to tell you the truth, out of the trilogy, I think I remember I preferred Shadow the most. I just liked how they changed things up a little bit, like making the crypts and tombs feel more like the classic series. But I do not have the definitive edition version of this, so I need to find that as well. Now, these next two, I was really, really happy to find. So I missed the pre-orders for these. One I found at a secondhand store. The other, I've got a funny story about how I got it. But now the green screen is really going to play havoc with this. But the physical deluxe edition of Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered on PlayStation 5. Me and Jess just went to the place and I was looking at the games and boom, there it was. So I was like, that's coming home with me. And then, of course, the deluxe edition of Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remastered. So since I found this, I was like, I've got to find this one. I can't just get the normal physical version. So looked on Amazon, didn't have any copies, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to watch it. And like literally, like the very next day, I'm looking through Amazon on my phone, and boom, one copy in stock, and I quickly grabbed it. I quickly grabbed it. So yeah, that is my gaming collection. A few pieces still missing, like I said. But I am so happy with this. I love having all these games. It's one of my all-time favorite series. I also actually have a statue of Laura as well, but it's up there. I can't get it down to show you. But yes, that is my hopes for where this is going after Legacy of Atlantis and Catalyst come out. I hope we get more remakes or remasters that set up more of this timeline where it's the same Laura through each and every game from Tomb Raider 2013 to Catalyst and beyond. But yeah, and they even set up in the Catalyst trailer that, yeah, this is the same Laura from everything. But yeah, I'm going to quit talking. Sure, you guys have heard enough of me, but I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you are Tomb Raider fans, let me know what you think of them unifying the timeline. And if you think I'm right, do you think Crystal Dynamics is going to go through the trouble? If Legacy of Atlantis is a huge success, will they remake every single game? Will they remake a few of them and then maybe just turn certain games into one big game like Underworld and Legend or anything like that? And what's your favorite game in the series? And yeah, what do you think of the voice actress change and all that? But as always, guys, this is Cannan. Me and Jess love y'all very, very much. Please stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.